Jurgen Klopp's Borussia Dortmund. This team, in my opinion, could have dominated German football for years to come, and the majority of the team was in their early 20s, yet was winning titles left and right. The Black and Yellows went from mid-table team yearning for success of the past to a Champions League contender, all within 4.5 years. I don't want to waste your time. Let's get into it. Alright, Borussia Dortmund. World-class team. Before Jurgen Klopp, they enjoyed success in Germany and in Europe, winning 6 Bundesliga trophies, 2 DFB Pokals, and of course 1 Champions League. The team was making big moves at the turn of the millennium, but unfortunately though, with all the spending on notable players, established players, it started damaging their pockets greatly. BVB was signing the likes of Thomas Rosicky, Marcio Amoroso, Jan Koller, and with these 3 in the starting lineup, Dortmund managed to capture the Bundesliga once more in 2002. Add to that, they were on the brink of winning the UEFA Cup, but came short in the final against Feyenoord. It seemed like the signings were translating into success, but that would quickly go awry in the worst way possible. First of all, they failed to officially qualify for the Champions League, which of course was an important source of income. Signing players like Heiko Herrlich was cool and all, but the team amassed 200 million euros worth of debt. Slowly, their screws down in Germany were loosening. The team was struggling to qualify for Europe, and suddenly a team who won the Champions League nearly 10 years ago was on the brink of extinction. Bayern Munich saw Dortmund's misfortune and loaned them about 2 million euros to pay wages. Dortmund even sold the naming rights to the stadium, and no longer was it officially called the Westfalenstadion. It was Signal Iduna Park. They were in the red, and at this point, the club president stepped down. Hans-Joachim Watzke was recently appointed CEO, and it all came down to March 14, 2005. Why that date? Well, the team was heavily reliant on the backing of investors. If those investors didn't like what they saw, BVB was going to be forced to file for bankruptcy, meaning no Dortmund in Germany's top-flight football league. After admitting that they don't have the money to pay back the investors, the guys in control of the club managed to convince them that there's a plan to pay back the debt, and so Borussia Dortmund was saved. What this also meant was the philosophy of signing players was going to endure a radical turnaround. Instead of signing established talent, Dortmund was going to have to bring in young/cheap players rather than outright buying notable talent. It obviously took a while for the team to find themselves in contention for the title as well. In the Bundesliga, they weren't doing well. The next 2 seasons saw the Black and Yellow finish 7th and 9th respectively, with the 2006-7 season featuring 3 different managers. But hey, they prevented their rivals from winning a championship, and surely that was essentially a trophy for them at the time. 2007-08 season saw the team finish at a 20-year low when they placed 13th. Not everything was bad for the team, though. For one, they reached the DFB Pokal final facing Bayern Munich. Mladen Petric scored an extremely late goal to force the game into extra time, but unfortunately, though, Luca Toni's 103rd-minute goal dashed their hopes of lifting the trophy. However, making it to the final gave them a spot in the UEFA Cup since Bayern already qualified for the Champions League. Not only that, but 2 integral parts of the iconic Bundesliga winning team was signed with BVB that year. Kuba, Jakub Lasakowski, and Mats Hummels, who's on loan from Bayern Munich. He eventually signed, though, with the team. With regards to BVB's failures in the Bundesliga, Thomas Dahl re-signed on May 15, 2008 and opened the door to a certain charismatic fellow, Jurgen Klopp. Klopp at the time was manager of Mainz. Before he took control of his former club, the team had never, ever made it to the Bundesliga, but under him, they did just that in his 3rd full season as coach. Hell, they even made it to the UEFA Cup, although that's more on the fair play system. Unfortunately, though, the good times didn't last and Mainz was relegated. There was a great interest from a few clubs for Klopp's services, clubs such as Bayern, who according to Klopp himself called 2 days later instead opting to sign Jurgen Klinsmann. Bayer Leverkusen was interested as well, but in the end, Klopp chose Borussia Dortmund. Immediately, Klopp brought in Mainz's Nevan Subotic to aid in the defense. He proved to be a key part of the championship-winning team. Marcel Schmelzer was promoted from BVB's youth team. Felipe Santana was brought in as well as Mohamed Zidane and Patrick Omiela. Oh, and Kevin Prince Boateng, who seems to jump at other teams like a ping-pong ball. Klopp's arrival saw Dortmund find success again. Well, it never resulted in trophies initially. There was clearly huge progress compared to other years. For one, Dortmund was one of 2 teams that went unbeaten at home in the Bundesliga. Hell, they went on a 7-match winning streak near the end but failed to qualify for Europe. They were 2 points shy, and had they beaten Gladbach on the final day, that dream would have been a reality. Still, though, it was a remarkable turn of events. Klopp wanted people to see Dortmund's passion and effort. He had very high ambitions for the team, wanting to take them from mid-table to Bundesliga champions. He revitalized BVB in many ways. Highlights from the season include a superb comeback against their rivals Schalke 04. Going down 3-0 in their own stadium, Dortmund refused to take an L in the derby. Alex Frey was man of the hour, being involved in all 3 goals. A 6-0 annihilation of Arminia Bielefeld, which saw Sebastian Kehl score twice. Slowly but surely, they were starting to become a notable team in the Bundesliga again. 09-10 saw the team go through a shaky start. First of all, they purchased a few players that were instrumental in the title-winning squad. Lucas Barrios, the Paraguayan international, Sven Bender, and Kevin Grosskreutz, who was essentially their James Milner. Mans was playing in damn near every single position. The team was rather inconsistent, with the biggest highlight being a 1-5 defeat in their own stadium against FC Bayern. Things were looking bright for the team in the early going as Mats Hummels scored against his former club, but then Super Bayern emerged from out of nowhere in the 36th minute as newly transferred Mario Gomez equalized. Schweinsteiger and Ribery followed up before Thomas Muller scored to end the game 1-5. And funny enough, those were his first 2 goals in the Bundesliga. Mario Götze was later promoted to the team as well, and players that were brought in were starting to make their mark. Nuri Sahin and Lucas Barrios proved to be huge for the team. Those 2 weren't the only ones performing though. The Hummels and Subotic partnership was working with things going well for BVB. It really seemed like Champions League football wasn't far out. But they botched the final 2 matches, drawing and losing to Wolfsburg and Freiburg. But what followed up, nobody saw it coming. So it's the 2011 season. Klopp was slowly improving on his performances in the league. The likes of Lukas Piszczek, Shinji Kagawa, and Robert Lewandowski arrived to the team. Lining up with a 4-2-3-1 formation, Klopp utilized a tactic known as gegenpressing. Whenever the other side had possession, the front would apply pressure, which would possibly lead to errors and potential goal-scoring chances. The whole approach, along with Dortmund players' hearts and passion for the game, took the German league by storm. After losing to potential title challengers Leverkusen at home, Borussia Dortmund went on a 16-match unbeaten streak. They topped the league table on week 10 and never looked back. The young guns are flying high, dismantling opposition with that fast-paced, exciting, heavy metal football. In Europe, though, they weren't doing that well. It was clear that the team lacked that experience when eliminated in the group stage of the Europa League. 1 point shy, though, of advancing to the knockout round. Bundesliga was a whole different story. They beat Bayern at home and later on in the season walked straight into the Allianz Arena and for the first time in a very, and I mean very long time, came out with a W. Lucas Barrios drew first blood, scoring in the 9th minute, but Munich quickly responded as Luis Gustavo took advantage of a corner. Just over a minute later, the Black and Yellows caught Bayern off guard with a quick-ass counterattack that culminated with Nuri Sahin curling the ball in the top left corner, making it 2-1. He was enjoying a superb season. Then in the second half, Mats Hummels wrapped things up with an impressive header, ending the game Bayern Munich 1, Borussia Dortmund 3. The 2010-11 season proved to be a breakout year for many. Nuri Sahin was believed to be the best stand player on the pitch for the team. Mario Götze, who was only 18, contributed to 6 goals and 11 assists. And he was, of course, perceived to be a super talent. They were calling him the German Messi. Lucas Barrios was scoring a hell of a lot of goals. Shinji Kagawa emerged from out of nowhere as well, and the Madman, at one point, promised to score in the derby. Not only that, but he promised to score twice, and he did just that. Mats Hummels was passing excellently as well as defending excellently. Kevin Grosskreutz was showing heart and passion like nobody else. Marcel Schmelzer was the player who played the most minutes for the team. And then there's Robert Lewandowski. The less said about his season, the better. The poor guy was missing sitters and was constantly being ridiculed in Germany. The team's hard work was rewarded in the end as Dortmund successfully won their first league title in 9 years on April 30th, 2011 with a victory at home against Nuremberg. Mission complete. The team ended the season on average the youngest squad to have ever lifted the Meisterschaft. Lowest goals conceded at the time with only 22 as well, and they left the competition in the dust with a 7-point lead on Bayer Leverkusen, who was heavily favored to be the favorites along with Bayern Munich in the beginning of the season. Funny enough, their head coach Jupp Heynckes was signed by Bayern Munich for next season. Back to BVB. As I said earlier, nobody really expected the team to win the league. They were all hoping to qualify for the Champions League, with the team making headlines across Europe. It of course meant that other squads were interested in talent. Dortmund didn't really offload any major talent, barring Nuri Sahin, who was an integral part of the title-winning squad. His presence wasn't really missed as the Black and Yellow brought in Ilkay Gundogan from FC Nuremberg. He proved to be a very important cog in the machine. Ivan Perisic from Brugge, who did not light the world on fire or anything like that, but was a very good choice to come off the bench. On the other side of things, it really seemed like Bayern Munich weren't going to take the third place finish lightly. Former Bayern president Uli Hoeneß said, "The league will now experience the real Bayern Munich." Little did we know that was all facts. It took a while for them to get things rolling, but once they did, we all know what happened. The team kicked off the new season signing world-class goalkeeper Manuel Neuer from Schalke 04, Rafinha from Genoa, and Jerome Boateng from Manchester City. Still though, BVB were determined to remain champions. On the season looming ahead, Klopp seemed to remain content with a result different from the previous year. Here's what he had to say. "If the team showed the same level of heart and dedication, for me it's about setting goals, and our goal cannot be to defend the title. The goal for us has to be very clear to show the football from last year on the pitch again. This includes to be successful and emotional, to bind people to us, to give the fans of the stadium fun, to offer a spectacle with crossbars, posts, overhead kicks, and everything that goes with it. And at the end, the points are added up. Now, this is something that's very common in Germany. For some reason, the runner-ups never announce strap that they're running for that title. I think it's because it applies a lot of pressure on the team. RB Leipzig and Dortmund, they haven't really made their intentions clear in the beginning of the season these last few years. Anyways, the German champions kicked off the season with a 3-1 victory over Hamburg, with Grosskreutz scoring twice. But then a few issues arose. The club in the first few games failed to replicate the previous season's success. For one, a few of their key players were either hurt or suspended, such as Sebastian Kehl and Mario Götze. The Black and Yellow lost 3 of their first 6 matches with a draw in there as well. Add to that, they were experiencing what the Champions League was really about. The defending champions failed to get past the group stage, let alone get transferred to the Europa League, as they won only one match. They drew once and lost 4 times, with one of those matches seeing Dortmund blow a 2-1 lead in only 2 minutes as Marseille took advantage of their youth, I guess. They needed a 4-0 win to advance past the group stage after that Arsenal victory. The team looked very eager to make good on their end, creating a bunch of chances, scoring twice in the first half, and Marseille made the most out of their opportunities to prevent a BVB victory. It was a very disappointing campaign, but back to the Bundesliga. So Dortmund were set to face Hannover 96 away. So Shinji Kagawa opened things up with a chip. Grosskreutz failed to score a vital chance, which led to Hannover capitalizing on a set piece and a sudden goal from outside the box. Those 2 goals occurred within 2 minutes, and 5 minutes later, Hannover was victorious. At this point, whatever it was, mentality, injuries, whatever, they had to overcome it. Bayern Munich was 8 points ahead at first, and they were very eager to right last year's wrong. Enter match day 7 against Mainz. Despite a superb performance from Mainz, and in particular the goalkeeper Heinz Müller, Dortmund showed that winner's mentality and forced a win in a situation that seemed damn near impossible. With a minute remaining in the game, BVB was rewarded a free kick near the bottom left corner of the box. Perisic went for a goal, but the keeper intercepted and pushed the ball to safety. At least that's what it looked like, because Lukas Piszczek took advantage and scored a long shot to steal the match, and most importantly, 3 points. Following this, well, I think you guys know what's up. Dortmund went on a 4-match winning streak that saw the team concede 4 goals. Lewandowski scored 5, and suddenly the man was in form. The jokes coming from the media were all in the past. This was good and all, but they still weren't number 1, and more importantly, the real test was in Munich. Luckily, the team finally found their form. Lewandowski was so damn good that he benched the previous season's top scorer in Dortmund. I'm not talking about the league itself. Lucas Barrios. With regards to that match in the Allianz Arena, it was very tight. Both teams did not want to take any risks and potentially disrupt their chances with a title. On Dortmund's end, there was a huge moment for Kagawa after some nice link-up play with Lewandowski, but Manuel Neuer put his hands up and Götze screwed up. He would, however, make up for it in a very huge way as he scored the lone goal in the 65th minute to give BVB the W. Borussia Dortmund was 2 points within the first place. Funny enough, those 2 weren't the only ones battling out for number 1, as Mönchengladbach was bedazzling the league with one-touch passing and counter-attack football. It was very entertaining, and they of course wouldn't maintain that momentum, but it was still a huge turnaround compared to the previous year for the Wolves. With regards to Dortmund, they were finally first place a week later and would drop points leading to Bayern becoming the winter champions. It took a bit for Dortmund to take back control, but they did just that on match day 20, and from there the title race remained close somewhat, with Dortmund taking a 6-point lead heading into April. After dropping 2 points in an epic thriller against Stuttgart, Munich capitalized and cut the deficit to a 3-point lead, with the clash in Dortmund potentially deciding the title. Bayern wins it, they're level on points, and win the title with the goal difference rule. If Dortmund wins it, it basically means they won the title. The match once again was tight. It was extremely dramatic, with both keepers making world-class saves, and both sides had multiple opportunities to steal the match. At one point, Lewandowski hit a header that met the post. Kagawa was putting in work, but then in the 77th minute, Grosskreutz took advantage of the moment and went for a shot. Lewandowski with a little touch that fools Neuer, and it's in. But the match wasn't over though. About 7 minutes later, Roman Weidenfeller dropped Ian Robben, giving the penalty to the away team. Since this was early 10s Robben, he messed up and the penalty was saved. All of a sudden, Subotic ran up to a distraught Robben and told him that that's the bottom line or something. I don't know. Some believe it's because Robben dived that Subotic reacted like that. And that's to top it all off, Dortmund a few minutes later almost conceded an own goal, but surely Robben was going to score that. No. And the match was decided. All BVB had to do was win the next 4 games. After Bayern Munich decided to fully focus on the Champions League and draw against Nuremberg, the Black and Yellow won the Bundesliga on April 21st, 2012 after Perisic and Kagawa scored twice in the match against Gladbach. The team smashed multiple records. For one, they had the lowest number of losses in the second half of the season with 0. BVB went undefeated from match day 6 all the way up to 34. Another record was 81 points. It was the highest tally for any Bundesliga team in history. All those records were destroyed the next year by that insane Bayern squad, but with regards to the DFB Pokal, it was a huge success. Dortmund plowed through the competition for the most part, and this set up a very entertaining clash with FC Bayern in the final. To me, this is the epitome of Klopp's BVB. It was fast-paced, lethal finishing. Bayern couldn't find an answer, and even when they had opportunities, they squandered them. It was the biggest loss in the final for Bayern at that point. The defense was in shambles, unaware of how to stop the onslaught of yellow jerseys coming their way, and it was such a great win that it left Jurgen Klopp speechless. For the first time in their 103-year history, Dortmund finally won the double. Insane turnaround from the club that was on the brink of bankruptcy. Credit where credit's due, of course. Jurgen Klopp wasn't the only one. Joachim Watzke, CEO, and Mikhail Zorc, the sporting director, deserve a mention. You know, they contributed. Without them, Dortmund's in shambles. They helped a lot behind the scenes. 2012-13, those solid teams suffered the same fate as Bayern Munich did the previous season. Munich were fleeing with the league. First of all, Shinji Kagawa and Lucas Barrios left the team. In Kagawa's case, Manchester United had always been a dream, and in Barrios' case, Lewandowski was just that damn good. But Kagawa's departure was masked with the purchase of Marco Reus from Mönchengladbach. Add to that, Nuri Sahin made his return in the second half of the season to BVB. Reus had lit up the league on fire with his excellent vision, superb passing that split defenses, and finishing. Reus scored 21 and assisted 14 in all competitions and was named the Bundesliga Player of the Season that year. About the Bundesliga, Dortmund didn't have that same fire as previous years. They were dropping many points ever so often while Bayern was stacking up. The team legit lost only one match in the Bundesliga and was steamrolling through the competition. That squad was possessed or something. They were absolutely insane. They smashed Dortmund's records from the previous year. 81 points? How about 91 points? The title was won with over a month left for Bundesliga action. And whatever Dortmund did, Bayern were above them. And the DFB Pokal, Munich eliminated them in the quarterfinal, but their Champions League campaign was excellent. Placed in a group of death with Manchester City, Ajax, and Real Madrid, Dortmund managed to break through with 14 points, 4 wins, and 2 draws over Mourinho's Real Madrid. They got through Shakhtar in the round of 16 before facing Malaga in the quarterfinal. It was an impressive draw for both teams. For Malaga, this was their first ever Champions League campaign, yet were among 8 of Europe's best. The first time Malaga was a goalless draw. There was a few chances for both teams to draw first blood, and at one point Mario Götze had 2 opportunities to score a crucial away goal, but Willy Caballero denied him twice. So many chances for each side in the first half. In the second half, Lewandowski had a huge chance that current day version of him would surely bag. So it was clearly going to be wrapped up in Germany. This time, there was goals in abundance. Joaquin opened up the scoring board to make it 1-0 Malaga. He dropped Schmelzer before going for a goal. The crucial away goal was there, but it didn't take long for BVB to respond as Lewandowski put one in the back of the net right before halftime. Reus foresaw the opportunity and Lewandowski made good. While as both teams went back and forth with their respective goalkeeper coming to the rescue. Then came the 82nd minute. Julio Bautista found a little opening and went for goal. Shot was too light, so LSAO finished things up, and Malaga were essentially through to the semi-final. Offside calls were made, but the goal stands. Look at them, they were so damn happy with the result. But it also caused Dortmund to go all out from here. Mats Hummels was called in from Gundogan, and despite his passing skills, Dortmund had yet to find a little opening. Malaga, of course, was time wasting because, well, first ever semi-final. It's obvious they got to do whatever it takes to get there. 90th minute arrives, and BVB's got 4 more minutes to do anything of note. Hummels lobs one up to Subotic. Santana failed to score, but Roy certainly did. 1 down, 1 to go. Malaga failed to block the pass after a missed time, and they paid the price. The action was really kicking up a notch. Fans are going insane, and then this happened. So Lewandowski crossed one up, and Schieber headed to Reus, who passed back, and Felipe Santana scored. Offside complaints from Malaga were ignored, and the comeback was complete. They desperately scrambled for a quick goal, but failed, and for the first time since 1998, Dortmund was in the semi-final of the Champions League. For certain, it was one of the greatest comebacks in the history of the tournament. Everyone thought Malaga was in, but hey, it's football, and you can never foresee magic like this. However, looking at the officiating for the match, it was downright horrendous. Malaga's second and Dortmund's third were both offside. Klopp's reaction, though, that's something else.
In fact, replay suggested it was offside.
Very important information, so it's okay.
Damn shame about Malaga, though. The fact that they got out of the group was astonishing, but to be 8 minutes away from the semi-final, wow. A lot of things would have been different had Malaga won it. For one, they would have faced Real Madrid. Maybe Mourinho would have won the trophy for them. It's weird to think about stuff. Then again, who knows? Maybe Malaga would have made it to the final. You never know. Now that the final 8 was split into the final 4, Dortmund drew Real Madrid. They were pretty familiar with each other, the group stage. But there was a huge problem in the way of this match. Reported on April 22nd, 2013, Mario Götze was confirmed to transfer to Bayern Munich the next season. The article stated, Mario Götze and his agent informed Borussia Dortmund a few days ago that the player would like to trigger his release clause and move to Bayern Munich on July 1st. It leaked 2 days before the important Real Madrid match. But despite that, Götze was on the pitch for what turned out to be a one-man show. Why? Because Robert Lewandowski scored 4 freaking goals over Real Madrid. He showed everybody why he's one of the best in the world, and to many, it's his coming out party. It's not like he was the only guy playing. The attack was terrorizing the defense with their pace, and in Lewandowski's case, clinical finishing. It didn't help that Madrid weren't used to the formation, and in the match's case, lacking an attacking midfielder. But despite this, Madrid got their away goal for the second leg. With regards to that, it was so damn close. From the first minute, Madrid was all over Bayfalbe. They were attacking, but the finishing left a lot to be desired. Ozil had a huge chance that was squandered, and had that gone in, I personally feel the result would have been a different story. Halftime come and goes, yet Madrid failed to score. Dortmund in the second had multiple chances to put the tie to sleep, but apparently Lewandowski forgot his shooting boots. But then the 82nd minute came. Gonzalo Higuain tapped one in from Cristiano, and the crowd was alive. They believed that their team was headed to Wembley. Dortmund was starting to get worried, and if that wasn't scary enough, then Sergio Ramos' shot in the 87th minute was. Nonetheless, the Germans held on and managed to punch their ticket to Wembley. On the other side, their rivals Bayern Munich destroyed Barcelona 7-0 on aggregate. Messi was injured, Barca was relying on him, and Bayern was a juggernaut. That's another story, but in regards to the final in Wembley, all-German final, of course, it was thrilling. First of all, Mario Götze was out due to an injury, apparently, and the two played some exciting football from the beginning. Both teams were giving away opportunities, especially Bayern, and Robin, he had this huge chance to kick Weidenfeller in the face. Dortmund was pressing well in the first half, and this caused Jupp Heynckes to adapt. They caught Dortmund scoring in the 60th minute after Robin handed it directly to Mario Mandzukic, and seeing Götze in his attire, it's like a time warp. It's back to those Justin Bieber days. Dortmund got there several minutes later after Dante, who was already on a yellow, decided to knee Royce in the gut. Gundogan confidently scored, making it 1-1, and from here the drama kicked up a notch. For one, Thomas Muller messed up a crucial chance that seemed to be going in anyways, but Subotic miraculously blocked it. Bayern was really throwing everything, including the kitchen sink. Dortmund's chances, though, weren't as scary as Bayern's at all, and in the 88th minute, Frank Ribery received the ball from Boateng. He flicks it backwards into some space, and Ian Robin takes notice and catches Roman Weidenfeller off guard to finally score in the final. Straight out of a movie, this man was perceived to be a choke, a bottler, whatever the hell you want to call it. For some odd reason, he never showed up in big matches, but here, in the 88th minute, he exercised his demons. That was the match winner, and Bayern a week later completed the treble. The team was already strong. They were coming off a legendary season, yet were going to be strengthened with the signings of Pep Guardiola and Mario Götze. Dortmund, though, was struggling to keep Lewandowski wanted out. This had already been confirmed by Michael Zorc, the sporting director, back in February. Rumors circulated of Lewandowski signing in Watzke came out and straight up said the striker will not be sold to Munich this summer. Lewandowski's agent had been talking up a bunch about a potential move, but BVB refused. It was better to have him potentially going far in the Champions League, do well in the Bundesliga, than to sell him for some money and have a terrible season. It was already bad with Götze moving, but surely they weren't going to let him go so soon. During the 13-14 season, Lewandowski occasionally took jabs at Dortmund's management, either in contract renewals or the fact that they didn't let him go. It wasn't until this winter transfer window that Lewandowski confirmed that in the summer he was joining FC Bayern. Since his contract was expiring later that year, it meant Bayern Munich signed the Bundesliga's top scorers, one of the most consistent stars in Europe, for free. About the 13-14 season, the Black and Yellow brought in Henrik Mkhitaryan, broke the club record for him at the time, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, and Socrates. Notable departures included Santana, who cursed out Jurgen Klopp and joined Schalke 04 of all teams. And in the Bundesliga, the team failed to break through the glass ceiling again as Bayern dominated. Still, though, the team was much better when compared to the previous year. Well, that Bayern loss had to sting greatly because, for one, it was at home and two, Götze scored. Robin and Muller followed up to make it 3, and Bayern with a super juggernaut, and despite Dortmund's hot start, it was over. They went unbeaten the entire season until April, when they took an L to Augsburg. Dortmund followed up by embarrassing them 3-0 in their home stadium. To this day, it remains the only loss Munich took at home to Dortmund in the Bundesliga since then. Lewandowski didn't score as much as he did previously, but it was still a good season for him. He ended up being the Bundesliga's top scorer. New signings, Mkhitaryan and Aubameyang weren't bad, and the team had an injury crisis that clearly affected their season, but nonetheless, it wasn't bad. Marco Reus, though, is my player of the year for BVB. He excelled greatly with his decision-making, finishing, speed, passing, and half of Europe was ready to sign him. The man, statistics-wise, had 23 goals and 23 assists in all competitions. He nearly brought the team to the semifinal of the Champions League single-handedly and was also amongst the top scorers in the Bundesliga, while at the same time leading in assists. It was a superb season for the German international. With regards to the DFB Pokal, once again fall short to Bayern, but this time it was a final. Hummels had a goal disallowed in the 64th minute, but despite this, the game made its extra time. Ian Robben managed to score in the 107th minute before Thomas Muller pulled in the sword. Another final lost to Bayern. Meanwhile, in the European Cup, Dortmund had a good showing, but for some odd reason, they're like a magnet to very competitive teams in the group stage. This time it was Napoli, Arsenal, and Marseille. The group itself was essentially sudden death. If you screw up, chances are you're eliminated. Marseille had 0 points, whereas BVB, Napoli, and Arsenal were level on 12 by the end of it. The final match day saw Dortmund face Marseille. If they drew or lost, Europa League. Kevin Gross luckily scored the winning goal on the 86th minute to send Dortmund to the round of 16 with 12 points of the group, equal with Arsenal and Napoli. Since the goal difference rule came to play, Napoli was left down. Zenit put up a fight in the round of 16 but lost 5-4 on aggregate. The quarterfinals saw Borussia Dortmund face Real Madrid, and with regards to this, the team messed up big time in the first leg. After that, BVB was riddled with injuries, and to make matters worse, Lewandowski was suspended for this match. Madrid was on a mission for La Decima and refused to be denied. But Dortmund wanted to spoil their plans in the second leg. The score was 3-0 heading into the decider in Dortmund, and immediately the team suffered a huge setback as Real Madrid received a penalty. Luckily though, Di Maria botched, or Weidenfeller saves, depends on how you see it. On the other side, Dortmund was constantly knocking on Madrid's door. Royce handed Mkhitaryan a superb opportunity, which he never made the most out of, until he's like, screw it, and scores himself. He follows up with a second goal 12 minutes later, and now it was 3-2 on aggregate. Ronaldo was pissed since he couldn't perform. Casillas was making excellent saves. In the second half, compared to the first half though, saw Madrid have way more chances than Dortmund. At one point, Mkhitaryan had a clear opening, a chance that would have made them level, but again, he botched. Still though, the Dortmund floodgates were open, and Iker Casillas was up to the task, and in the end, Real Madrid escaped with a tie. Since Lewandowski made his departure on July 1st, Borussia Dortmund had to find ways to replace him. Enter Adrian Ramos, who had a few decent seasons with Hertha Berlin. He obviously wasn't as good as Lewandowski, and it was going to be a struggle to replace the contributions he made to the club, but there was some optimism there. Other signings included Kevin Campbell, who didn't do much for the team. He would obviously go on to Leipzig. Matthias Ginter, Shinji Kagawa made his return and was welcomed back with open arms, and then there's Ciro Immobile. He had just come off a breakthrough season with Torino, scoring 22 in 33 league appearances. So obviously, people were expecting him to light the Bundesliga on fire. But it turns out, Dortmund bought the wrong striker or something. The man just did not click at all in Germany, neither on the pitch or off. For one, Immobile wasn't accustomed to life outside Italy, and in the Bundesliga, he was involved in only 4 goals in 24 appearances. Champions League, though, was a different story. According to the striker, he wasn't offered much support in his move to Germany, he wasn't invited to dinner, and German was essentially impossible in his eyes to learn, and the whole entire run wasn't the best. It seemed like he was on the down low, but a few years later, he became a 2-time top scorer in Serie A. Anyways, Borussia Dortmund had a horrendous start to the season. In the first 10 matches, they only won twice, drew once, and lost 7 times. Heading into the international break, the team that was doing well in the Champions League was 18th. In the relegation zone. Despite this, they weren't getting embarrassed or anything like that. It was mostly losses by 1 goal. Some believe that Klopp was figured out. The teams didn't play his game. They opted to give him the ball and wait for a moment to counter. And with regards to the Champions League, there was obviously more urgency, There's obviously more urgency to score in the Champions League rather than the Bundesliga. And add to that, the team was riddled with injuries. Lewandowski, the main goal scorer, was gone. Things were horrendous. But in this unfortunate season, there was some positives. For one, Aubameyang started scoring more often. Marco Reus extended his contract till 2019 amidst relegation and transfer talk, and they started winning in the beginning of the second half of the season. They were scoring, losing less often, and in the DFB Pokal, they made it all the way to the final where they lost to the exciting Wolfsburg team 3-1. The Champions League campaign, though, ran into a black and white dead end, that being Juventus. They dominated and obliterated BVB with ease, especially in the second leg. Juve were well disciplined and had the confidence and most importantly form that the home side lacked, till the tie ended 5-1 on aggregate, with Dortmund's only goal coming off a defensive accident. Carlos Tevez though, oh my, what a performance. And perhaps the most unfortunate thing to occur to Dortmund in the 14-15 season was, of course, Jurgen Klopp's departure. After a very uneventful season, an emotional Jurgen Klopp announced it's time to leave. You can't imagine how unbelievably tough this is to leave behind something as brilliant as this. It's extremely difficult to say, but we're professionals and you have to make a decision. I believe this decision is absolutely correct. This club deserves to be coached by someone who is 100% the right way for the job, and a decision had to be made. His successor ended up being Thomas Tuchel, ironically, the ex-coach of Mainz. So there you have it. Jurgen Klopp's legacy in Dortmund will never be forgotten. He's a club legend because he turned the team from a mid-table average side to a European powerhouse that managed to beat and stand his ground amongst the others. He brought the side their first trophies in about a decade, along with their first ever double. It took BVB back to the Champions League final after 16 years. He was charismatic, likable, and the perfect manager for the side. It was some smart scouting, great coaching, and you gotta wonder, what if the team stayed? What would have happened? What could have been, because every year Klopp is improving the results. Somebody left, like in the 2011, Nuri Sahin left. 2013, Lewandowski, Götze, and he just never had that true team that he wanted. The team to this very day has not had the same type of success as they did with Klopp. They certainly do play exciting football, though. Okay, that's the video. What side do you want me to talk about next? Do you want me to talk about a player's season in particular, like Suarez in Liverpool, Mourinho's Inter, Rijkaard's Barcelona, that Fulham team that reached the Europa League final? We could do a bunch of videos. Please let me know what you guys thought about this in the comments. Peace, I'm out.